Okay.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Oh, hey, we are live. Oh, boy, that snuck up on me there. Okay, we are live. Welcome to the Opperman Report. I am your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. And this is our special birthday show brought to you by Subash Technosis. That's right, SubashTechnosis.com. You spell that S-U-B-A-S-H, Tech, T-E-C-H, T-E-C-H, Gnosis, N-O-S-I-S.com, SubashTechnosis.com. You can find them on Facebook. Just look up Subash Technosis. I think if you just look up Subash, S-U-B-A-S-H, you'll find it there, Subash Technosis. And these are the guys, I've known Subash for 10 years. And the website design for you, search engine optimization. If you want your website to be ranking high in Google, on the front page of Google, in the top 5 searches, you go to Subash. You need a press release. You need data entry. You need content writing. Subash Technosis is the man to get a hold of. Okay, the show's, check out OppermanReport.com. We had a little show tonight with Vincent Palomera, and the second half of that show you can find in the member section. That's the quality of the show that we have in our member section here at OppermanReport.com. Now, tonight's title of our show, the birthday show, is called Born Again Birthdays, Scientology, Freemasons, and the French Foreign Legion. Only on the Opperman Report can you find a show title like that. Oh, boy, what a day, what a day. Here we go. I want to give a shout-out to all the Vegas protesters and activists out on the Las Vegas Strip right now in front of the Bellagio. We have a victory, a partial victory, with the Standing Rock Sioux in North Dakota. Although we lost the court hearing today, we won because the Army Corps of Engineers issued a statement saying that we will not proceed building on this land until further investigation, research, and inquiry. So it might be a trick just to get people, to go home, because, man, it was really, they got thousands over there right now standing in solidarity. And, you don't hear about this on the news. You heard this here on the Opperman Report first, But today down on the Strip, we had the Bernie Sanders Brigade came down from California, and they stopped at the Strip. We had, oh, my God, local Native American groups all got together. This is one of our biggest and most successful rallies. Of course, I missed the whole thing. We had a good one when I wasn't there. Because, I guess when I'm going, people don't want to show up. But if they know I'm not going to be there, more people come. I guess that's how things work. Okay, let's see. Let's look at the old notes. Let's see the old birthday notes. I'm 21 years old today. So I guess I can go out and have a drink after the show. And tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, tomorrow will be 9/10/2016. It will not be my birthday. My birthday will end tonight at midnight. But until then, you can still wish me happy birthday, because only about 1 million people did today. Thank you all for all the great birthday wishes, and the instant messages and the emails and all the Facebook posts. You know how I love to get your emails. You know how I love to get 150 instant messages per hour. Right? One character out there, Dylan Wade, I got to tell you, he says happy birthday on Skype because he's part of the Skype chat room for Awake Radio. I got to chat with him. Hey, Dylan, when's you going to get your show ready? Hey, happy birthday. Okay, 10 minutes later, he's messaged me on Facebook. Hey, happy birthday. Again? It's not a year later, man. Maybe he's a time traveler now. And he thought it was next year. Tomorrow, 5 p.m., we have John Clark. Now, he is the lawyer. He was the attorney for Mr. Knowlton, who was on our show previously, who was the witness in the Vince Foster murder case. Okay, and he did that extra exhibit that they added to the congressional hearing. John Clark. Now, John Clark is a civil rights attorney, and he's going to be on the show tomorrow. And he also filed a lawsuit and won successfully in the flight TWA 800 flight. And, I talk about that quite a bit because if you go to YouTube and you put in Discovery Channel, NYPD, Scuba, Harbor Aviation, you'll come up with there was a Discovery Channel. You might even could leave out Discovery Channel. Might not have been Discovery Channel. I'm pretty sure it was. But they did a documentary of these guys who work for NYPD, Harbor Aviation, the scuba cops in New York. And everybody on that documentary was at my wedding. I know all those guys, and they all came to my wedding. And the best man at my wedding was on that video too. And I went to his. I know they all went to his wedding, so I know all these guys. And what was told to me, because these are the guys who lifted up the debris. They went diving down and lifted up all that debris from TWA 800. And they told me, because some of these guys are former Navy SEALs or former military, and they says, "Oh no, this was a missile. This was a missile that hit that plane. We saw the damage. We saw the way it went down." And we know that it was a missile. So that's that. That's going to be on tomorrow night, 5 o'clock. In the member section, I added 3 new shows. One is with Fred Rosen, great guy. He wrote the book about Lobster Boy. But this was a book about the murder of one of these presidents. I forget his name right now. I forget his name. It's been a rough week, guys. It's been a very busy, rough week. A lot of distractions going on around here. Then another show with this woman named Julianne about psychopaths and the Netflix movie Scandals, I think it's called. You got to go look it up. Go to the members section, check it out. You'll find out. There's a lot of new shows. We just put up 3 brand new shows on there. And I got a bunch of shows planned for this week, too. Busy. Now, we had this week Hillary and Trump did this town hall where separately they, Matt Lauer asked questions from the audience and all kinds of nonsense, right? Now, what you haven't seen reported on the news about that, is that town hall was held on the Intrepid, which I believe is an aircraft carrier. It's in New York, and it's called the Intrepid Museum. And if you're in New York, you can go down to the Intrepid Museum and visit all this stuff, right? And they also have over there one of the, what's that thing called? One of those space shuttles over there. Now, what you don't know is that Donald Trump had a huge home field advantage holding this town hall at the Intrepid. Okay? Because the Intrepid Museum is owned by the Fisher Foundation. Okay? And who is Mr. Fisher? He's a real estate mogul in New York. Right? And who was Mr. Fisher's, how do I say this? Okay, Donald Trump has a chief of security named Keith Schiller. And when Keith Schiller was still a cop in New York City, he worked for the Fisher family. I don't know if he worked for them off the books or how this worked. But he worked for them where he would get them cops. Because the Fisher Foundation and Mr. Fisher is the only name I knew for the guy. I don't know what his first name is. I've seen him on TV a couple of times. He keeps a low profile. Very powerful guy in New York. A lot of money. Way more money than Trump. The guy owns a Intrepid Museum. He owns an aircraft carrier and a shuttle. Way more money than Trump and Trump's foundation. This guy's loaded. And he had this thing where he liked to hire cops to show up at people's funerals. So if he had a friend that was having a funeral or something like that, he would hire 100 cops to show up at the funeral in uniform and direct traffic, and stand around, give people dirty looks, and play with bagpipes and do all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like a fetish almost with this guy. And he would do that hiring through Trump's chief of security, Keith Schiller. So when Trump showed up down there at the Intrepid, he got his boy Keith there, who knows all the ins and outs of this place. And because they're all buddies, And all my guys, my Harbor Aviation guys, they're the guys who got the gig to when they brought the space shuttle and they brought up the Hudson River, on a barge, and it was my guys, the Harbor Aviation guys, who had that job to off duty, to get this space shuttle over to the Intrepid Museum. So these are all the same guys, doing this thing. So Trump definitely had the home field advantage for that. And you don't see that on TV. They're not talking about that. By the way, too, as long as we're talking about Harbor Aviation, all this kind of stuff, the movie came out, Sully, right, about this guy, this pilot who landed his plane in the Hudson over there. They talk about this constantly in almost every single interview, that Sully says that he was the last man on that plane, and he walked up and down the aisle to make sure that no one was on that plane. That's not true. That's not true at all. Because I know the guys who were the last guys on that plane, and it wasn't Sully. Sully did walk up and down the plane, and then he got off the plane. My guys were still on that plane when Sully got off the plane. There's no doubt about that. I don't think there's even any argument about that. And a bunch of NYPD cops were on and off that plane way after Sully was back on shore. And some cops did get very injured in that, too, in that rescue there. Okay, so that's a little background, right? Killed 12 minutes. Let's see what's on my notes here. Okay, little update about last week's show, which was, wah, I want you to respect me. I demand you respect me. Right? Which turned out to be a dramatically popular show. People love to hear all the backroom gossip and the politics and the drama that goes on behind the scenes. So that turned out, that show on Spreaker got like 8 likes. And the views on like TuneIn and iHeart were just freaking out the window on that show. I guess everybody just loves the drama, Hey. Oh, we also broke 10,000 followers on Spreaker this week. And as a matter of fact, it went up so fast, it went from shot past 10,000 to like 10,150. So keep up the great work, guys. Thank you very much. It's a big help if you go to YouTube and you subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you go to Spreaker and you find Opperman Report and you follow. If you follow us on Spreaker, you get an email when the show starts. You'll never miss a show. Although, I know a lot of people try to avoid the show. And it's up there in archives. You can listen to it in the future. But if on YouTube, if you subscribe on YouTube, we're trying to reach a certain plateau. The next plateau would be 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. And that gets you more features and benefits from the YouTube people. And also, too, if you view on YouTube, we make a little money from that, too. We got a couple of pennies, a couple of shekels come our way. If you watch on YouTube and you don't do skip ad, you don't want to click skip ad. That screws us out of the money. Then YouTube gets all that money from the advertising. We get nothing. But one thing about last week, with the behind-the-scenes drama that I revealed to you is it's just amazing. Because now what's going on. By the way, that pretty much put an end to all the nonsense that was going on. All the accusations and the spamming and the trolling and all that kind of crap. But there was one little last-ditch effort, and it's just so ridiculous. I just like to put this one to rest, too. It's about Thomas Sheridan. Thomas Sheridan, I interviewed him. He's a guy from Ireland, but he lived in New York City for a while. He's an interesting guy. He was on my show, and we did a show about Jimmy Savile. It was a very popular show, and huge traffic on that show. And he was a very popular guest. So after he did my show, I liked him. He was very popular. And he said he wanted to do his own show. So I said, okay, fine. I'll put you in touch with all the people, all the stations that I'm on. I'll put you in touch with every one of them. One of those was Awake Radio. And he started doing his podcast. And my producer really helped him out to hook up with all the people, the managers and stuff like that, to get him on these. And everybody loved him, you know. He got on